Yes, welcome to the first ever male sexualist live stream. And let me see if I have my guest. Are you here? Oh, great. Then I think it's working. And now I have the link. I'm just going to share that on Twitter so people can see us if they want to already. Yeah, and meanwhile, you can introduce yourself, maybe. Okay. And that's right. So now it's my turn to introduce myself. And I am Eivind Belge. I am a veteran men's rights activist. And the men's movement, as I see it now, it's called male sexualism, the real one, the one that I am actually the leader of because it's that tiny. Not because I'm anything special, but because there is simply no movement based on male sexuality except us. So we have to start somewhere, and this is an attempt to breathe new life into it. I've been blogging for 10 years, 12 years. But maybe we need to think of something else, and this is one way I'm trying to grow the movement. So today we're going to discuss Nofap, which I see as a part of our ideology. I see it as the nurturing ground of male sexualism. I've come up with this metaphor of a male sexualist garden based on the Stoic garden, where the protective fence is the ideology against the feminist sex laws. And that fence has now been torn down, of course, since they made these hateful laws against us. Yes. Absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, that works. We're not basing ourselves on any credentials or any kind of formal leadership position or anything like that. We're just explaining what we think should be a men's movement. Yes. Yes. So as I was saying, the nurturing ground after the ideology is, I would say, Nofap, which is already a movement on its own, but it's not linked to an ideology. And I think it's the perfect fit. And it's just simply that we should never masturbate or look at porn. It's that simple. And if you combine that ideology with the practice in this garden analogy, and then the precious fruit that you reap, that is, of course, pussy. That's women. You have a better sex life. And male sexualism is all about having a better sex life. And yes. Oh, absolutely. That's because feminists have made all these hateful laws to criminalize our normal natural sexuality. For example, by expanding the definition of rape to absurdity. That's actually the most crucial point. But also by raising the age of consent and by criminalizing prostitution or just buying sex, and making laws against revenge porn and etc. Yeah, that's right. And as I said, the ideology is one component, and that's the most important component. But we also want to offer something positive, because let's face it, we can't actually change the law anytime soon. We should do our best to oppose it, but we can't make a difference anytime soon since we're so tiny. So we have one positive thing you can start doing right now for yourself to boost your own sexuality and empower yourself over the feminists. And that is Nofap. Yes, I break it down into 4 affected components of sexuality, which are attraction, motivation, performance, and enjoyment. Because fapping integrates all of them. We can start with attraction. Yes, attraction. Yeah, performance and enjoyment. Yes. Yeah, let's start with attraction. What happens to men who watch a lot of porn? Their attraction gets screwed up to where they pursue these idealized categories, or they develop fetishes that are not good for them, and they get unrealistic expectations of what they can pursue in real life, or they pursue something else, and it just it's not good. It's my point. Yeah. For example, before I found Nofap, I didn't have any fetishes, but I had a little bit of maybe a BBW fetish. I think that was a result of watching porn. Because after yeah, and that's so scary. If you really take that in directions that you don't want to go, that is clearly not good for you. It happens to varying degrees, but clearly there are men who are attracted to bizarre kinds of behaviors because they watch so much porn, and that's why you get these bizarre categories. I don't think they would exist so much if men didn't indulge in this. And those are not good fetishes to have in real life. So my claim is that it screws up your attraction. Yes, they did, but they weren't indulged to that extent, I think. And I think you don't need to feed them with this stimulus. Right, you're right. I haven't studied that, and I haven't. That's just a minor part. I mean, we have 4 components that we're going to talk about, and this is only the first, and it's not the most important one. The most important one is performance, actually, because that's, if we go directly to that now, that's when men see they have a problem, right? Because most men who see, okay, yeah, right, right. I believe that. Yes, I'll be ready to move to motivation now, which is the next component. Yeah, because if you masturbate and you look at porn, you're less motivated to pursue women in real life. I think that's indisputable. So quitting will then be a sort of biohacking, or actually it's just a return to normal, to where you can align your behavior with your value. If you actually value sex, you should actually be pursuing it in real life, don't you think? No. Well, you're less motivated. Yes. Yeah, but if you keep doing that, you have a bad habit, and it will lead to worse outcome. No, I'm just talking about just the sheer motivation. You just have less drive to act sexually in real life. I think it's very obvious and simple and true. So now we're ready to maybe talk about performance. Are you there? Um, I think I lost my guest. Let me see if I can call him back up. Okay, good. Well, we didn't say anything more, so we can just continue. How? What age was this? Okay. Yes, but what? Well, that sounds like you should find a better way to learn about it than fapping. That's for sure. You don't, and even if you need to learn it, that only takes a minute. You don't need to have that habit or establish that habit. But maybe, yeah, it does. Right. Yeah. Okay, but let me counter that with the more typical example, which is that boys start fapping a lot younger than 15 or 16, maybe like, in my case, maybe like 5 years old or younger. But at least by the time they're like 12 or 13, they probably most do it like 99% or over 90% of them probably do it. And then it's already too late. I mean, you should have quit before that. It's my opinion, because it's degrading these aspects of sexuality that I'm talking about, which is basically your whole sexuality, your attraction, your motivation, and now the performance, which is, you said that FAP could have helped a little bit, but here's the thing. Why does the Nofap movement exist? Why do men, yeah, I'm going to, that's the big thing. It makes you impotent. Well, watching porn and fapping makes you impotent. And that's why the whole Nofap movement exists. I mean, it doesn't make, right. That's why Nofap is a thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I I think motivation comes from within. So you have this sexual drive from by nature, right? And you can give it a natural outlet, or you can watch porn and like that take some of the outlet. And if it takes some of the outlet, there's going to be less left over for what you should be doing in most cases. Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, you give it a maladaptive outlet, which is also a super normal stimulus that just, well, if you do it occasionally, you can get away with it a lot more. It's not going to like instantly make you impotent. But the problem is there are many men who claim to be impotent because of porn and masturbation, and when they quit, their ability comes back. That's called rebooting. Well, it's not just self-diagnosis. It's there's a literature on this that's beginning to emerge that is actually finding this in clinical settings too. And even if it's not doesn't show up so easily on where you can get a diagnosis of impotence, it still can degrade your life in subtle ways, and you don't want that. Yes. Yes. And in extreme cases, you can be completely impotent with real women. You can still masturbate because that works in different ways, and you've trained yourself to only respond to that, in effect. And that's when men realize they really have a problem, and they discover Nofap. But isn't it better to just practice it all along? Right. They have basically brain damage because of fapping. Not perfectly reversible, but it's mostly reversible, sort of kind of reversible. You definitely should try to reverse it and do salvage what you can of a normal sex life. Yes. But oh yes, it is physical. It's absolutely, it is physical. It's not a psychological problem. This is physical. That's yeah, because it the apparatus is working when you give it an artificial stimuli, yes, but not when you give it a natural hormone. I would call that a somatic dysfunction because your somatic apparatus is supposed to work in the natural way. And if it doesn't do that, then you have that problem. That distinction is kind of irrelevant, I think. If it's not working, then it's not working. It is in your brain. Well, if you go to the main info site on Nofap, which is Your Brain on Porn by Gary Wilson, where he explains what he believes is the mechanism behind this, and he emphasizes that it's definitely physical, not psychological. And I believe that too. Yes. I mean, it's basically much worse than you think. Yeah. That's true, but sometimes it's useful to look at it from a neurological point of view, and sometimes it's useful to look at it psychologically. And in this case, it's not useful. It's not. It hurts you to think of it as a psychological problem because that's not what it is. Because then you could just sort of think that you can improve just by changing your mindset, but that is wrong. It's not mindset. Right. But yeah, and in this case, that takes a reboot where you actually don't look at porn and you don't masturbate for at least 30 to 90 days, and you don't do it later after. Otherwise, you go back to the same state, and you don't want that. So you permanently give up fapping and porn. It's just not something you do if you want to be a healthy man. Yes. And now we get to the the last component of sexuality that I was going to talk about is enjoyment, which is arguably the most important one. That's most of the time that's why you do it, right? Because it feels good. But it doesn't feel good, or as good as it should or could, if you fap, because it degrades your sensitivity. It degrades your sometimes you have trouble ejaculating at all. It can be delayed, or it can be that is if you're not impotent. There are more subtle ways that your enjoyment can be degraded, and you don't want that. It should be obvious. Mm-hmm. Right, that's such an obvious example. Yeah, but you can go again in a few minutes or hours later, and then go longer, not by degrading yourself or abusing yourself by fapping. Okay, you can make that argument, but overall, it's just it just doesn't fit your values if you subscribe to male sexualism, as I see it, which is that real sex is the highest value, and masturbation is what I would classify as asexuality. It makes you more asexual. It's not sex, so it should be eliminated, especially since it degrades your real sex life so much. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. Yes, that it did exist before porn, and the way it was practiced before internet porn was not so damaging because it wasn't so compelling, right? So now you have this situation where boys are growing up with this incredibly powerful stimulus that they can access at their fingertips anytime. And they're not prepared for that unless they have this ideology or this knowledge that I'm trying to impart here. And unless they actually embrace it, which is a tall order, but at least we can inform them. Yes. And also facilitates dealing with hateful feminist laws so against their sexuality. So they go together so beautifully. Oh yeah, they usually frame it as like if women are being exploited or children are being exploited. That's bullshit. That's not why you should give up porn. That's just complete bullshit. You should give it up for your own sake because it's hurting you. Men are the victims of porn. Oh yeah, and there's the wrong way to think about it, because if you tell a boy he shouldn't be doing it because somebody else is being affected, that's not going to motivate him egotistically to give it up, and because there's plenty of reason for his own sake to do it. Oh yeah. Yeah, but actually religious traditions have had they have had sort of the right idea that you shouldn't masturbate, but they had it for the wrong reasons, but they still reached the right conclusion, funnily enough. So if you believed in that and you stayed away from it for that reason, that would still help you. Yeah, but how else are you going to motivate? Yeah. Yes. So what I'm offering is a sort of middle ground where you can. I'm making this a little bit more than just a scientific and practical self-help advice. I'm making it a ritualistic part of the male sexualist movement. It is my intention to make this a ritual that male sexualists should practice, that we practice Nofap, and that is part of what makes you a male sexualist. So it's kind of has almost a religious dimension, or our version of that, which is you can actually be any religion and be a male sexualist. But it has, when you practice it this way, you also get the placebo effect, because there's so much more than just the sexual benefits if you believe in this. Or if you practice it without believing in it too, because it just makes you more confident and better person, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, not from the point of view of, say, from a feminist point of view, it makes you a much worse person, because you're going to be doing what they call sexual harassment and maybe even rape by their standards, right? So, no, in that sense, it doesn't make you better. but it makes you better according to the values that you should possess as a man, which is male sexualism, in my opinion. Yes. Well, no, I don't see it that way. I think that life is about making decisions that actually matter and not just wasting away tapping your porn. Even if you make bad decisions in your relationships and you get married early and have children or whatever, and that's going to be a good thing where you don't end up old and childless like you're more likely to if you fap. So even if you make bad decisions, no, it's worth it. And I don't think it's not like it makes you crazy. It doesn't make. Okay. Okay, let me. Well, maybe he benefited us with inventions and stuff that most men are not going to. But what it does, in my experience, what it does to practice Nofap, it means you integrate your shadow, basically. You have it gives you emotional depth. It makes you a man who is not harmless. He has the full register of emotions, and he can use them, but he probably doesn't have to because he's feeling and his confidence exuding such a charisma that he gets women, so he doesn't have to be so frustrated as you think it can make you end up as. Yeah. Well, I don't see this as a racial thing. I think any man can benefit from Nofap. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he should do anything he can to be less docile. Yeah. Okay, well, all the more power to them if they have that much of a libido, but that would be up to them if they want to embrace Nofap and make it even stronger and more focused on the values that I preach. And if I were them, I probably would. Well, if he has a higher libido, that would be enviable. but not those expressions of it, but he should fuck more women instead. I don't see a value in fucking animals. But no, no, I think I have plenty of testosterone. I think that Nofap will boost it for any man, even if no matter where he stands before, and it's better, all things considered, no matter what. Right, but what do you do with your sexual drive? You let it have a natural outlet with women. And if you are so inclined, you can fuck lots and lots of women. And that's completely consistent with my ideology. It's for any man, even if he wants to be monogamous or the greatest pickup artist ever, this is the ideology he should subscribe to. Mm-hmm. Okay, then it would be worse. Well, most civilizations have had brothels and that type of thing, that men can have sex and civilization too at the same time. Well, not lower it, but the fact is that men have a higher drive, especially for casual sex, than women, right? So that, yeah, but that's a real outlet. That's an outlet that passes my ethical muster, unlike fapping, which isn't sex at all and should be frowned upon, to say the least. But remember these neurological problems. I mean, the impotence can happen even if you have a very high sex drive. You just get misfire and you still think about sex all the time, but you can't perform. So that trumps everything, basically. You don't want to risk that. Well, I don't think that really happens. I don't. Well, you think they they need fapping so they can be productive? That's just ridiculous. Well, that's a complex problem that has also to do with IQ, and I'm not claiming there are necessarily so big racial differences. I don't know. That's an empirical question that it has nothing to do with this, really, or not much. Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, but what does it mean to be intelligent is to be adapted to your environment, and they have a different environment. Different strategies, different way of life is appropriate to them. So they're doing exactly what they should be doing. That's right. Well, yeah, and most of this happened when we didn't have internet porn or that much fapping. I mean, this is basically a new problem that came on top of civilization after we had successfully had both civilization and a better sex life. So we can just go back to that. That's all I'm saying. Right. Right. Yes, and that's the problem, that they're unshackled, but we are hampering ourselves by looking at porn, which is just a voluntary shackling of male sexuality, and that's ridiculous to voluntarily subject yourself to that. Well, it's ridiculous to voluntarily hamper yourself, abuse yourself by fapping. I consider that's a normal word for it, self-abuse, and that's a correct word for it. You get addicted, yes. Mm. Yes, and there are so many other dangers with injecting and that lifestyle. That you need heroin, yes. If you need anesthesia, you need powerful drugs. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No. Okay, I can think of one example. If you're going to be a sperm donor, then it's acceptable, because that's a medical indication. That's the only one I can think of. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. I can't think of any of them where that would be necessary, but okay, maybe. Yeah, sperm analysis, sure. Mm-hmm. Well, you shouldn't fap. It's going to mess up your sexuality. When you get back with your wife, it's going to be worse. So you have to, if you want to be monogamous, you can choose that and no fap. or you maybe should question that monogamy principle to begin with, if you can't handle it that way. Or maybe you shouldn't have a job that brings you away for several months. I would say Nofap is a stronger value in my value system. Yeah. Okay. Well, I disagree. I think we should make a clear pronouncement that fapping is bad. Yeah. As a cultural norm, like a sort of goal for most people, then it's good for civilization. I agree, but it shouldn't be absolute. And you should tolerate prostitution and hookups and things. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Well, okay, he can do it, but I do it at your own risk. It's not something I recommend. No, it's not like that. But it's just there's also an issue of addiction or something similar where you just don't control your behavior very well, and it's best to just never start. Sure. Well, yeah, I can understand making some exceptions but it shouldn't be a general rule. That's what I'm saying. But no, no, well, I need to interrupt now because somebody commented and said that they can only hear me. So it seems that I have screwed up your audio. That it's not being broadcast. I'm very sorry. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Um, hmm. But that is a shame because then they've missed all your answers, and they were really good too. Oh, they say I can take off my headset. Let me try that. Okay, how about now? Can you say something and see if they hear you now? I'm sorry about this. I'm a total newbie to live streaming, so I didn't correctly set it up. Are you still here? Ah. Are you still there? No, I can't figure it out. Are you there? They say they just hear me. So, and I tried to disconnect the headphones and use the other speakers, but that didn't. Then I didn't hear you anymore. Well, I didn't see an option in the beginning on how to. I thought I added you, but by calling you up. But I have participants here, and I have two participants, Casey, Ortiz, and me. But yeah, try that. Yeah, can I don't think they can. Yeah. Which phone are you using? Is it the silly sad? Let's see. Yeah, I should be entertaining them, but I don't. It's hard to do it without. Yeah, that's a good idea. Somebody said he's only here for the nudes. Well, the point of this debate is to tell you how bad it is to look at nudes. You shouldn't. She. No, there won't be any nudes because. Oh, it's a girl. Wow. We are teaching men about the dangers of pornography. Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to. I just can't find an option for it. Let's see. Now, yeah, now you're online there, but let's see. The whole. I can't even find the invitation option. There, maybe. Very. No, your sound is very bad now. I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. I'm sorry. I just didn't. I didn't think. I thought that was automatic. Yes, but I just can't figure out how to do that. How do you invite into a live stream? I have a list of participants here, but I have an option to add another one. Damn. I just don't see how it's done. Let me Google it. Yeah, I have somebody watching, but so I can talk to them at least. So the problem is we're trying to have a conversation, but we can't. I can't figure out how to add him to the actual stream. He can show up in my on my headphones in Hangouts, but I can't get him into this chat or into this this live streaming. I thought Hangout was connected to this. So yeah. Any ideas? Use Discord, you said. But Discord. It doesn't seem like that's relevant. It should be in the Hangout itself. Maybe you need a YouTube account? I don't know. Can you hear me now? Yes, you have a YouTube account, but yeah. Well, if you want to join the conversation, you can too, but I don't know how to invite anybody. Just don't know how to get another participant in this. I'm so sorry about this. It messed up the whole thing. Well, there should be an option for Hangouts on air in YouTube when you create a Hangout, and I only found. No, you didn't mess it up. You helped us identify the problem. We didn't even know we had this problem. So you helped us realize that we weren't having a two-way conversation on air. So no, we know about that thanks to you, and that was good for telling us. But we still don't know how to fix it. I just don't have I don't even know if it's possible to add more people after it has. How? I guess this will just have to be the end of it, and then we can try again with once we figure out how to start it with 2 people. And we can try to go live again that way. So I don't see a way to fix it in here. But thanks so much for listening, you who actually came. And it was a shame we missed out on my guest's audio. No, they still can't. You can try it, but I think I haven't changed anything here. I haven't figured out how to change anything. I can hear you, but my listeners cannot. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, go to YouTube and see if you can log in there somehow and start participating. If I can somehow let you into the stream. I tried taking off the headset, but I didn't get any audio on the speakers. Probably it just didn't work. But yeah, that sounds like it should work. Let me try here. How about now? Can you say something, Eugene? Okay, now I have. Now I'm disconnecting the headphone, and now I have. Can you say something? Let's see if we get your audio on my external speakers now. If you're still here. That should maybe work. But you're not here anymore. Okay, you can hear me, but you can't talk. Now I can maybe hear you again if you talk. I played back the headphones. How about now? Can you say something? No. Try saying something now if you're still with me. No.
Is it any better?
Oh, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, no, we have some kind of. We have a little bit of audio, but it doesn't really work that way. I don't think it reaches this microphone very well from my speakers. It's not the way to do it, is it? But you can try.
What can I try?
To speak. No, I think you're in the video now if you speak.
Okay.
Yeah, now I think they can hear you. I can turn up the volume so you. Yeah, so now we're actually doing it in a way that I don't know, probably not the right way, but we're doing it in a way that you can actually be heard.
So I can be heard now.
Yeah. Is that not right? Yeah, you're being heard.
Good. I leave and reconnect a couple times and I'm back. So it's weird.
Yeah, so we finally figured it out somehow. But until next time, we have to figure out how to actually add you to the live stream. But I'm sorry about not knowing about how to do this. But we're learning. So maybe we can continue.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
So what was this last point?
Yeah, you said
okay, Fucking to relieve yourself when you are not in the family and you are away.
Yeah. That's something you defended.
That's one point. Yes, because if it is important for you psychologically to remain true to your wife, then it's much more important than fapping and no fapping.
Okay, so I can agree. Maybe
And
that
it's what
maybe make an exception for that if you are willing to take the risks.
another situation is another useful application of masturbating is before a date. You know, your sexual drive clouds your judgment. When you don't fuck, women appear more beautiful than they really are.
But you don't want. That's a horrible idea. You don't want her to be less attractive than she is and or should be to you.
No, I want to be less attracted to a woman when I go on a date.
But no.
I want my judgment to be more sober. I don't want to jump on a first woman I encounter. I want to be able to choose, and I am a better chooser. I am a picky eater when I'm not hungry, you know. When I'm hungry, I eat everything, and when I'm not hungry, I'm a picky eater.
Yeah, but you might disappoint her with the problems we talked about earlier.
What problems? I do not see any problem, especially if she's not trying to have sex on a first date. It's perfectly okay to not having sex on a first date. So you fuck, you go on a date, you judge the woman soberly. You do not try to fuck her immediately, and you make a better judgment when you are not hungry.
But all the problems that I described, I mean, they apply. You can't just say you should suddenly do it anyway. I mean, this is...
You are breaking up.
Hmm? Well, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree about that, because that's actually when it's most important not to do it. That's when you should be...
Well, that's interesting. I want to hear your position. Not well. You claim your position now. Explain it to me. Why is it better, and how is it better?
Because if you do it, then you have to redo the process to get to become normal again, and that takes like several weeks.
I do not become abnormal when I fuck once.
Maybe not by doing it once.
It does not turn me into a monster.
But how do you know you're only going to do it once? You want to be...
Well, on why future tense, we can talk in the past tense. So if I go on a date like once a week, for example, and I fop once a week before I'm going to a date, in order to be more judgmental, in order to be more selective. So I can tell you, it did not have the effects you are trying to frighten me with.
No, I just don't even know what to say, because it's such a stupid idea. It just it robs you.
Explain to me how is it stupid?
Because you're depriving yourself of the very price which you're about to get if you have a successful date, and you don't want to degrade that with happening.
What do you call a successful date?
If you get sex.
Only that.
Well, then it would be successful, yeah.
And what if you had sex with a psychotic woman who then stalks you?
Well, you can't be sure that's not going to happen, but you should still do it.
Look, I see that some women are dangerous, and I do not want to interact with them intimately. And I want to be able to recognize their dangers and to recognize the red flags. And I do better recognize the red flags when I do not desire sex immediately.
Yeah, but that's like stepping outside from your life and not living it. You should, when you hook up with a new woman, you should always try to make the best of it. Not have it be some kind of practice run for something in the future.
Wonderful metaphor, actually. Stepping outside of your life instead of living it.
Yeah, that's
the perfect way of living your life.
No.
You live your life as if it is somebody else's life.
Then you don't
That's
have
the
a
best
life.
way to do it.
Oh, that is. Then you've gone through life just being overly cautious and not enjoyed yourself.
Being cautious is very important nowadays. You are not only risking venereal disease, you are risking your entire life with the wrong woman. Even the situation with feminist laws, you should be very cautious.
Well, yes, but there's such a thing as being too cautious, and this is way overdoing it. You should sort of check out the woman that she's not too crazy before meeting her. But you shouldn't do much more than that. I mean, if she has a history,
I would like to check her.
If she has a history of false rape accusations or something, then you should probably run away from her before even going on a date.
Yes, but if she appears healthy, mentally healthy, in a conversation online, and then we go in real life date, I still want to check her what she looks like in real life before I interact with her. And my judgment is better when I'm sober.
Yeah, you should be sober. I agree with. I don't drink myself, but you shouldn't be.
I mean, sober in both sense.
Yeah, but
sober, like not having an urgent desire for sex.
But what's the point of dating? Isn't it to have sex?
Oh, I have a perfect analogy. What's the point? Do you go to a supermarket or a grocery store while hungry?
Well, sometimes. If you don't have
So never
home,
do it.
You might need to.
Don't do it ever, because when you are hungry, you buy more stuff than you actually need.
That's true. That's a kind of valid analogy, but I still don't think you should deny yourself that spontaneity.
Oh, spontaneity is dangerous, costly, and frustrating.
Yeah, but men have such a low probability of getting casual sex anywhere that we should take anything we can get and be prepared for it, to enjoy it fully. Because you might only it might only be a one night stand too. She might not want to see you again, but she might be doing that day, and then you deprive yourself of that good experience.
Oh, that's a very interesting point. One night stands and preparedness and taking every possibility to have sex. Well, that's an instinct. It's like it's complicated instinct. It is not only about sex. It is also about chasing females. So males, they have a desire to pursue females and to collect trophies, like trophy sex.
Well, yeah, but it's not just the trophy. It's the best parts of life.
How is it best part of life? I think that the best part of life is to get successfully married, like happy marriage
Well,
is the
that's
best
also
part of
a
life.
worthwhile goal, but consider that the median man has something like 8 women in a lifetime. So you should savor those, even if you have maybe a handful of one-night stands in a lifetime. Those are very important too.
Well, yes, they are important, but they are not enough important for me to risk having sex with a mentally insane female.
Okay, then we disagree on that, but I think most men would want to be as prepared as they can and as have all those aspects that I talked about: performance, motivation, enjoyment. All that should be top notch. You basically want that to be top notch all the time, which is why you should never ever fap.
Yes, yes, top notch. And this is exactly the point of fapping, not to be the top notch all the time,
Right.
not to be so available for predatory females. Because there are predatory females who desire to destroy your marriage. And when you are not top notch all the time, you are better prepared to preserve your happy marriage. You know, this is why you need a wife who gives you sex on demand any time of day.
Yeah, but you're giving yourself a handicap. That's basically what you want to do, a bad handicap.
Oh, it's difficult. It's difficult to discuss in such terms. How is it a handicap? I have many more goals in my life than having as many sex as I could.
Well, then you're not fully a male sexualist to the full.
No, not to the full. Well, I'm nobody to the full because I'm not fully anarchist. I'm not fully whomever. I'm not fully male sexualist. I'm not fully MGTOW because I have relationships with females. But I still sympathetic to the idea of not chasing the pussy, not paying too much for vagina. And I absolutely agree with MGTOWs in their attempt to reduce the price of vagina because it's overpriced. It's apparently overpriced and everybody can see.
Yeah, but you're doing it in such a perverse way. You're cutting off your part of yourself to do it.
Yes, but from time to time we have to cut a part of ourselves anyway because, well, as a child I wasn't that educated and maybe I was stupid in some regard, and I cut off those parts that were stupid. I'm now better myself because I amputated my stupidity.
No, you amputated a healthy part of your sex life by not practicing nofap from all along. That's the advice I'm trying to give, at least.
Well, I absolutely agree that we should reduce porn consumption to the minimum. So we should reduce self-satisfaction to the minimum also, because it is clear to me it could be damaging. But I'm not an absolutist. I'm not an absolute nofap, and I'm not absolute male sexualist because sex is not the highest price. It's not the highest. It's not the highest reward in your life. The life is rich on rewards of all different sorts, to live a full life, you need to experience all different kinds of rewards, not only the most intense rewards, but also most variegated rewards.
But you don't get the most intense rewards when you handicap yourself.
How so?
Because
If I skip a couple of sick females and then invest more time, more effort in a woman who really deserves it, it's much better than wasting yourself with females who do not deserve your attention.
But actually, it's even more important if you want to invest that much in one woman, because then you don't want to disappoint her with these performance problems.
Right. But while I'm searching for the right one, I'm trying to contact random females, and I need my judgment not to be clouded with sexual desire. So I need to temporarily reduce my sexual desire in order to be more judgmental, in order to select the right female for myself, which is not right in sexual regard, who's right as a person.
Okay,
because you can have sex with anybody with vagina, but you need more than sex from a woman.
Okay, but let's look at it this way. You can do that another way, just to be so popular that you have so many women that you're not so desperate that way. And that's done by following this advice.
You are breaking up. Can you say it again?
Well, if you have lots of sex with more women, that's also reduces your desperation, so you can use your judgment more. And that's a better way to do it.
Good point. I see.
Because then you don't compromise these principles and this way of life.
Yes, I see it, but females consume time, they consume effort, they consume money. So maybe fucking is a cheaper way to reduce your sexual drive when you need it for some limited time span.
Right. No, I wouldn't use fapping for that ever, but you can go visit a brothel, for example. That would accomplish it in a safe way.
Okay, brothel. Not in Norway, yes. Because we talked yesterday about this legal situation with prostitution.
Yeah, well, maybe not a good idea to do it here, but in general, that would be the advice I would give instead of fapping, if you can't get it otherwise.
And we segue to my last major point. Maybe, given all the recent developments, especially legal developments, when normal male behavior, absolutely perfectly normal sexual behavior of males is now criminalized almost entirely in Europe at least, but in the United States also. So, and it's progressing at such frightening pace that I decide, I see it as a battle that is already lost. Maybe it is the best solution for us to stop fighting the war that we have lost already.
Stop fighting. You don't think we should have a men's movement?
No. Regarding fighting, because fighting is defeatism. From your standpoint, as far as I understand you, to masturbate is to admit your defeat.
Yeah, it's a self-help thing to not do it. Just be.
But sometimes you need to admit your defeat.
I don't think so. Not on this. You can.
Maybe not this time, but sometimes it is needed.
Where we are defeated is on the laws. We can't change them anytime soon. So we can control our own bodies.
This is actually how I see MGTOWs. MGTOWs say, okay, we've lost this battle. Let us wait for the society to collapse. Let us exclude ourselves from the calamity, maybe temporarily, maybe forever. We don't know how things will develop. But isn't it a safest way to preserve your life? Because you are risking your life when you engage with females today in Northern Europe, for example.
Yeah, but that's once again stepping outside of your life and just letting it slide by. You shouldn't give up to that extent. I don't agree with the MGTOWs that far.
But yes, but I understand MGTOW are trying to develop some alternatives to fulfill your life that is deprived of natural pleasures of having sex with females.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That's just resigning completely.
Yes, that's resigning, but they still have hope for the societal collapse. And it's not so far-fetched as I can see.
No, that's not far-fetched, but that's a Pyrrhic victory. We all go down if that happens.
And what will happen if we keep fighting? The government will kill us all, and then the society will collapse.
Yeah, but at least we did.
Anyway,
we did the most honorable thing. That's all I'm saying. You can't really change things as individuals, but we can be upright and have integrity.
I jump on board with this Nofap and male sexualism, not because I see it as a way for salvation, but because I see it as a very important thing to be ready for. Because if and when I see it useful, I should be ready to adopt it as my personal strategy, because the future is unclear. For MGTOWs, it is clear that the battle is lost. For me, it is not yet that clear. But if the battle is not lost, I would like to be on board with your movement. But it is not clear for me that the battle is not lost. Do you understand me?
Yeah, we don't know the outcomes, and a lot of things can happen. But I'm just saying, based on all we know, it's just best to be most honest, which is what I'm trying to do.
I'm trying to embrace all healthy ideas that are available for me right now, and I think that your ideas are healthy. So I want to be prepared to practice your ideas and to participate in your movement when it is needed. But I'm not so sure about the situation as a whole, because probably we should lay low and wait for societal collapse. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's a good idea to lay low. Most men in the male sexualist movement are anonymous. I'm just about the only one who shows my face. Tom Grower was another one.
But when I say maybe everything is lost and maybe we shall lay low, it doesn't mean that we should not develop our ideas and we should not form a movement. We still should, because ideas is what is important at any moment, no matter what the state of the real life around us. Ideas should be developed in a logically consistent way. So if you have an idea that needs to be developed, I'm totally agree to help you and to participate in it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do.
Right, that's worth trying. That's worth thinking about. That's what I think about Nofap, because even if some people, well, please forgive me using the word inclusivity, but being inclusive, that's important, because maybe people are not ready to abandon porn
Okay,
right
no,
now.
I'm not gonna exclude you if you fap. I'm just saying that's my advice to men, and I consider that part of male sexualism. It's something to practice and be part of the group by doing, but it's not like it's mandatory. The politics is what defines a male sexualist, to be against the hateful laws.
Right, you have a good advice, and okay, let's keep it in mind. I think I had quite a few other points, but I've lost the train of my thought. So maybe later we should definitely return to this, because I haven't I haven't given you all my all my trump cards,
No, we're just getting started, and we need to sort out the.
We didn't even touch the systemic effects of FAP and no FAP, because it's a huge speculative topic. What I believe that the current situation is largely due to sexual drive, because vagina is overpriced. It is overpriced because the sexual drive. I do not see any other drivers to overprice vagina. And MGTOWs call us to reduce the price of vagina, and I agree with them. And you call us to improve ourselves by no fapping, but at the same time, no fapping potentially could lead to the increase of the price of vagina, and I see it as a downside.
Well, I see it as more important to have the best life you can individually first, and then you think about these systemic, big structural issues later. And right now, we're so few that it won't have an effect on that for a very long time. We would need many 100 millions before that would even be relevant.
No, that's good point. That's good point. So we can simply use our yes, we can use numbers. Yeah. Yes, we are not going to have a systemic effect so far. So okay, right, good point.
So we can at least have the best individualized we can, and this is just an obvious piece of advice.
This part about the best individual life possible. You know probably that MGTOWs claim the same. They say, make your life better for yourself.
Yeah.
Start popping on
They
porn.
claim that, but they do go about it in such a
but so far you claim your way of life is the best one, and they claim the same. And what is your evidence that your life is better than theirs?
Well, I feel very satisfied with practicing Nofap. It's completely right. I just can't imagine going back to that kind of self-abuse.
Well, I totally believe it it is the best for you personally. That's absolutely beyond any doubt. But for me, I don't know. I don't know. And regarding this porn, we didn't touch the entire porn topic. It's also huge, and it's
Oh yeah.
well connected with this one, but still separate topic. Yes, I agree that porn can be damaging, and okay, at least I cannot deny that you should try to minimize self-satisfaction and minimize hyperbolic, all this hyperstimuli of porn.
Yeah, it is a super normal stimulus, right? It is not.
Yes, it's like alcoholism. Alcohol, you know that alcohol is your natural neurotransmitter.
Yeah,
It
but
signals you that you are. It signals you that you are receiving food. The first portion of sugars that you eat metabolizes into alcohol, and it signals you that you are getting good food, real stuff, and it gives you pleasure. And when you drink alcohol, you fake this pleasure that you normally get from having sugar.
okay, yeah, but the thing about alcohol is humans have lived with it for such a long time that we're pretty well adopted, and even that causes a lot of problems. It does still cause a lot of problems. Alcoholism is something like 5% of the population. So
yeah, yes, and this is how I agree with your point, with your perspective on porn.
yeah, and
Because,
porn has not
yes,
been
it
with
is
us
type
so
of
long.
stimulus, and it is very analogous to alcoholism.
Yeah, except it
From
doesn't really kill you, but it degrades your life, right? And so the consequences are not so noticeable to other people as alcoholism is. But that doesn't
yes,
mean you shouldn't do something for yourself.
yeah, I see. Okay. I feel a bit tired.
Yeah.
I do not feel as if I can continue.
No, I think we
a
covered it
meaningful
well
discussion.
enough. And I'm so sorry about the technical issues, and I hope we can come back and do another episode, maybe on a different topic, and do it right and have everything work. And I'm so sorry that I didn't figure out the technical issues before actually starting this live stream.
You learn as you go.
Yeah, we learn as you go. So I guess I have to just say thank you to my guest Eugene for participating, and also to the audience that we did have, which seems to be maybe only one person. But thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you all again. So I'm cutting off.
I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward for another episode.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.